Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9. I'm Paul Kretschmer, introducing our broadcast for today with our General Manager, Steve Tuzanu, and his guest.
Welcome to the WIHS Journal. My guest today is Dave Pettigrew, who is a Christian musician, artist, writer, and all-around talented guy. Thank you, Dave, for spending time with us.
Appreciate you having me here.
First thing I'd like to know is, how did you come to faith in the Lord Jesus Christ?
I was born and raised in a Christian home in Rhode Island. And, just kind of grew up in the church and kind of made the decision to follow Jesus in my teens at a camp that I was going to in Pennsylvania. And then it's been quite a ride since then.
How did you get into Christian music? You're touring all over the country. How did that all start?
Yeah, I was, I loved Christian music when I was a kid and listened to it all the time. And, I wasn't even allowed to listen to secular music when I was a kid. So I didn't find any of that stuff until I got into my teens and 20s. But listened to a ton of Christian music as a kid, just loved it. I played saxophone. I first started out, went to college in Boston, Mass, at Berklee College of Music for saxophone. Figured out I could actually sing when I was there. And then moved to New York City, started playing a bunch of gigs around town. And then I didn't start actually my own Christian music until I was in my early 30s. And we've been going strong for the past 20 years playing. Started out playing church basements and anywhere we could play, people's backyards and all these kind of places. And it's grown immensely over the last 15 or 20 years. I've got over a dozen records out, and I've had the privilege of just being able to tour with some great bands. I've opened up for King Country and Michael W. Smith and Mercy B. and Jeremy Camp, and toured with Big Daddy Weave and Unspoken and just some amazing artists. So it's been pretty awesome to watch this thing grow.
What does your life look like traveling on the road?
I drive. I do a ton of driving. We do about 35,000 miles a year on a Honda Pilot that I have. I mostly tour by myself. It's me and a keyboard, and I have tracks when I play, and we do events all over. And it's usually, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, kind of 4 or 5 days in a row. And then I'll get a few days off and come home and hang with my wife and my kids and come back, go back out on the road and keep ministering to people.
What motivates you to travel on the road and do what you do?
Somebody else asked me this at a show a couple of weeks ago. And I said, if we didn't see lives changing at every single event, if we didn't see people's lives being changed by the music, I just wouldn't do this. But we constantly see God moving in and around the shows. We see, his spirit moving at shows, see people's lives being changed. We saw 2 people accept Jesus for the first time on Saturday night outside in a park in Methuen, Massachusetts. So those are the things that just keep us going. It's awesome to be able to witness 2 people and just see God move in and around their lives through the worship events.
Your latest album is titled Faith and Gasoline. How did you arrive at that title?
Yeah, this is a great question. A lot of people ask me this. This ministry runs on 2 things: our faith in Jesus and the gasoline that I put in the Honda Pilot that I drive all over the place. A lot of people are like, well, isn't the gasoline like, the strength and the hope and the love that you have in Jesus? And I'm like, yeah, it is that. But we, from a practical standpoint, we need some gas to put into the tank so we can get to the next show. So that song was kind of birthed out of it. An evening, a late night drive, I was coming, to a hotel, going to a hotel after a show, and I'm driving along, and it's late at night. It's probably 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, and I see the white lines just flashing ahead of me. And I said, man, it's just lonely here tonight. It's just me and the white lines flashing by. And I said, man, that sounds like a cool way to start a song. So kind of wrote that tune while I was driving, and the rest of the record just came together after that.
One of your songs is titled Here Is Hope. What is that song all about?
Yeah, There Is Hope. It's a song that I wrote originally for the 10th anniversary of September 11th. And then a few years after that event, we had a recovery group in Pennsylvania start using that phrase as kind of their mantra. There is hope in Jesus from addiction. And then I lost my nephew to an accidental heroin overdose about 6 years ago, actually right in my basement. And so it's kind of moved. We turned it into this movement called the There Is Hope movement, where we act as a conduit between folks that need help from substance abuse addictions and folks that can help. And we partnered up with Team Challenge and Celebrate Recovery. And I work with a lot of different recovery groups all around the country and stop in and lead worship for them. And it's just been amazing to see, out of the pain and the hurt that we had when we lost our nephew, how it's just been, how God has just used it for his good and for his glory. And we've seen that story just change people's lives. It's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Do you address that kind of thing in your concerts, and if so, how?
I do, yeah. We talk about it. I talk about it from stage. I tell the story, and I tell other stories about how people's lives have been affected by the movement, and play the song, talk about the song, and talk about our, we've all got addictions. We're all struggling with something, and the beauty of it all is that our God never lets us go, and He's always walking with us. What
is the most memorable concert that comes to mind, and what made it so memorable?
Oh man, that's a crazy question. I don't know. I mean, I've played, I gotta say, 1,500, maybe 2,000 shows. We do about 120 shows a year. There's a lot of memorable ones. I remember one evening I was opening up for King and Country, and they called me into their kind of their green room, their dressing room prior to the show. And what was beautiful to watch was that every night before they go on stage, they have a little Bible study and they have a little devotional time. And I was able to lead that devotional time and lead the prayer that night. And just it was just awesome to be able to see, how whether you're on the level that they're at or the level that I was at that time, the message is still the same. Like, we're all just out there just talking about Jesus and trying to help people understand the love and the mercy and the grace and the compassion and the hope that we all have in Him. And it's an honor and it's humbling to be able to do this.
You're on the road a lot. What effect does that have on you and your family?
Yeah, a lot of people ask that question too, and it's certainly difficult. I've got 2 kids now. They're older. They're both in college, and so it's a little easier, I guess you could say, to tour. But when they were younger, it was hard. They didn't quite understand why I was leaving for a couple of days and what would happen. And, we got through it. My wife is amazing. And I always say that she's the most important part of this ministry because she's just home with the kids kind of doing their thing. And she's an incredible mom. But it's tough. It definitely is hard. And we thank goodness there's FaceTime and, phones and all that kind of stuff where we can actually see each other and talk at the end of the night. And, I used to read to my kids over FaceTime, which was kind of cool. It was an interesting way of putting them to bed.
When somebody comes to your concert, Dave, what is it that you hope they'll take away from that concert?
The whole 75 minutes to 90 minutes or so, sometimes it goes longer if the Spirit is moving, but the whole thing it's just pointing to Jesus. And I tell a lot of stories in between songs. I play the songs, a lot of times I'll just play piano and vocal just so people can hear the lyrics and really just kind of absorb the song and the moment and the mood and the message of the song. And I just love interacting with an audience in that way where they can hear some of my stories and how some of those stories relate to them, how those stories relate to my walk with Jesus, and how we're all kind of on the same journey. And it's kind of awesome to be able to share, my story with people and then hear feedback from them saying, hey, that story that you told, I really can relate to that because it's kind of the same struggles that I have in my own life and my own walk with Jesus. So it's kind of great to be able to kind of just do this.
We're speaking with Dave Pettigrew. Dave will be in concert at Jacob's Well Christian Coffee House September the 1st. Doors open at 7 p.m., and the performance will begin at 7:30. Thank you for joining us on the WIHS Journal. I'm Steve Tuzanu.
That was WIHS General Manager Steve Tuzanu and his guest for today, Dave Pettigrew. For further information, call us. Call us at 860-346-1049, 860-346-1049, or email can be directed to office@wihsradio.org. That's office@wihsradio.org. The WIHS Journal is public affairs from 104.9 WIHS.